So why this topic, REFIRE for longevity? We can see by market trends that for many countries across the globe, we are living longer. And so we have to redesign, look at the way that we work our lives. And we look at experts in the field, not just ourselves and Linda, but there's another very smart Linda called Linda Grattan, who's written a great book, The 100-Year Life, where she also speaks about the fact that we are living longer, to 100 and beyond, and how we need to manage our energy and resilience in order to get the most out of that longevity. And so we're going to build on the 4 questions that we asked last week today. And if you missed last week's webinar, we'll make sure that we include a link to that as well so that you can watch that too. And why are we talking about this? Well, my name is Celine, and my business partner, who you'll meet in a second, I'm just keeping the seat warm for her, Joni Petty. We have a business called the Resilient Energy Center, and we are passionate about sharing frameworks to help people manage energy, resilience, and well-being. And Linda, perhaps this is a good opportunity for you to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Linda Smith. I'm a retirement life coach and run an organization called the Refirement Network, and basically helping people 50 plus to understand that retirement is changing and that we need time to plan and to look at what that means differently. And that's what the session is about. So, hello, Joni.
Hi, Linda. Get 2 for the price of 1 from the Resilient Energy Center today. Great. Thank you, Linda. Well, that really leads on to what we're chatting about. And health and real wealth is very well intertwined. And, of course, if you don't have real health, you can't have your wealth. That's immediately taken away. So let's fire off with the first question, Linda. Why refire and not retire?
Right, so as Celine has said, there is a book that Professor Linda Grattan has written called The 100-Year Life. And as you can see on the slide, there is a ladder. And so longevity is one of the things that's really changing the way we need to think about the season. And so if you look there, you can see if you were born in 1987, that you're likely to live to 97. So those of us who have children or grandchildren, if you're born in 1957, I think it's 87. So that's my year at 60. For you, it'll probably be 90-something.
Oh, so, yes, thank you, Linda.
So that's why
it's going to be 92. I have a feeling in my bones.
So that's why we need to really think about it differently. We haven't saved for a life that long. And so there are lots of things that we need to do differently. We don't feel that old when we get to 60.
Yes.
We may need to work longer. We need a passion and a purpose and a reason to get up. In fact, we actually have a whole new season. And so the four pictures that you can see next to the ladder basically look at the reasons why the world is changing and why we won't live our parents' and grandparents' retirement. Firstly is that medical science has changed the way in which we live. If you think back to the way Chris Barnard did heart transplants and how they do them today, the fact that if we detect chronic diseases, we can medicate them or become more healthy through fantastic ideas. So the health sciences have changed significantly. We live in a global world mainly because of technology, and so technology has also taken away the way in which we work, actually, and we can work everywhere. We can work at home, we can work while we travel. We don't have to actually be in an office. So that also sort of defines a different way of working. Then we obviously living in a global world, which changes the dynamics of, so I don't actually need to be in an office to work. I could be like Celine, often in Paris or London, and still be doing the work that you love. And so you can do that for much longer then into retirement, but you need to really understand what your purpose and your passion is. And then secondly, social change has completely the sort of 2 children, 2 kids, I mean 2 parents, 2 children and the picket fence no longer exists.
Yes.
Family and social change, sadly the most divorced generation. So many of us actually don't have a choice but to look differently at why we need to retire and not retire. So Joni, what do you feel about this specific question on refiring rather than retiring?
I'm going to give you 2 points here, but I want to build on something that you said, Linda, is that one of the futurists I chat in terms of medical science is in 15 years' time, we'll go to our kitchen, print a new kidney, take that off to the GP, and the GP will just be the mechanic. Fit my new kidney. This is what I need. 3D printing. So why REFIRE? So I'm going to look at this. Linda Grattan speaks about the transitions in life. And actually, Celine and I speak about refiring on a daily basis. So the two succinct points I'd like to make is that if you're going to look at refiring daily, and we know that burnout and depression are just skyrocketing worldwide, is you have to sleep adequate number of hours. So refiring and that longevity in terms of, going to next transition is a lot about what you're doing today. So we are living in a sleep-deprived world. I'm busy reading Adriana Huffington's book, The Sleep Revolution, which is fascinating research. So the refiring for me is making sure that you're getting between 7 and 9 hours of sleep a night. Successful people, they say, should have 8 hours, 36 minutes a night. I don't think any of us are getting near that, but of course, if you start some disciplines today, sleep adequately, you can refire every day, and that's what we need. The second point I'd like to make is around refiring in the day-to-day stresses of life. So in the Resilient Energy Center, we see so many very stressed people who are making knee-jerk decisions. And obviously, if you're making, to your point, Linda, life decisions around purpose, is you need to have a look at, can you take a deep breath and make the right choices for now? So the refiring on a daily basis is about being able to be present, be mindful. And we teach a breathing technique called the 4-7-8 breathing technique. And you can refire your brain and your whole system by breathing in for 4, holding for 7, and out for 8. So I just thought in terms of that topic on resilience and energy and fighting fatigue, if we sleep adequate hours and are disciplined about that, and we just day-to-day refire by being back in our body and present and mindful around how we choose to respond and not react. Those are simple daily techniques which obviously have a lifespan of uses.
Absolutely.
So let's get on to the next question. So the next question is, what is important to understand? We're talking about longevity.
Right. So just as you're saying, longevity doesn't start at retirement. These aren't decisions that we make. Sadly, most people only start to think about it too late in life. But actually, it's something we need to think about much, much earlier. In fact, part of our longevity will come from our genetic makeup.
Yes.
Who our parents are. And if your parents are well into their 80s and 90s right now, the chances are good that you're going to have that same longevity. Yes. And so that's the first thing, is to understand that it's a lifelong decision, whether it's around your health, your finances, or about your purpose and your passion. And Linda Grattan talks about tangible assets and intangible assets. And that for me is absolutely key, is for the last 100 years, the majority of conversation has been around a successful retirement will come from having enough money. But actually, I know many sad, sick, wealthy people.
Yes.
And so money doesn't bring you happiness, and it doesn't bring you health. So it's a personal responsibility that we need to take from early on for our own financial savings, for our health, and then for our skills and knowledge. And Linda Grattan talks about the finances and your skills in your career as being your tangible assets, which is the thing that most people look at. But what about the intangibles?
Yes.
Those for her are a key part of where longevity will really be a gift. And so on the screen you will see I have some of those. So vitality being one, your health, both your mind, how you think,
yes,
as well as your body. Those are key from a vitality point of view. Learning new skills and knowledge all of the time. We're living in a world that's exponentially changing, and so that also is key. Networks, and diverse networks by that. It means that if you have a network within your office and you don't have too many others, you're going to be challenged when you retire. So I really challenge everybody to build diverse networks from when they're very young, with people older than them, younger than them, just in different groups of life, because that just helps you to think much more broadly.
Yes.
And your relationships are absolutely key, your family. So these are some of the things that will make sure that you're happy while you're getting to this older age where longevity will be a gift. Reputation, absolutely key. And transformational skills, being flexible, adaptable, being able to change, because we're going to be living in a fast-paced world that is changing. So this is what you need to understand, why longevity is key.
Lovely. Thank you, Linda.
So from your side, what do you think is important about longevity?
So 3 points come to mind. The first is, if we start to manage our energy and not our time, we can start to build that portfolio life. So often when people retire, to a very point which is so key, is that their networks are within their business, and that's problematic. Now, if you're working long hours and you have absolutely no energy to play bridge, golf, mosaic, join a movie club, etc., is that you don't have those different networks of people outside of the work colleagues. So if you look at, Selena and I talk about a pyramid actually of collaboration, and the base of that pyramid is your FAB quotient. How are you fueling your body, how are you activating your brain, and how are you behaving? So your point around vitality, it was your top bullet point, Linda, is absolutely crucial in our world. Because if you've got energy, then you've got time.
Sure.
So time is your limited resource, but if you've got energy, you can have these extra clubs and interests. And what I'm seeing with people going through different transitions, which is what Linda Bratton speaks about, is that they've often got these diverse interests. And it's interesting, they can be in retail banking, and if they've been really interested in coaching on the sideline, they've done a coaching course, and they've done, they've dabbled in it a bit and they've had a lot of fun, or I've had some people say, I'm just passionate about food, I'm passionate about coffee. Here's an interest, actually, which is fascinating, longevity as the topic, is my 87-year-old father-in-law said to me last week in Durban that he would like to be a barrister. So guess what? He's going on a course to be a barrister, and I've organized it already.
That's fantastic.
So, which is really lovely. Then the last point I wanted to make here was around longevity. Let's not forget the third and middle, I should say, not third, activation Selena and I speak about is neuroplasticity. So for longevity, these little cells in our brain, and hence the picture on your slide, is that we can grow new neurons, and they can connect, and the synapses will happen, and you can actually, all these interests. So if we are just quite tunnel visioned about our career, whether it's in banking or it's in logistics or whatever other medicine, is that we don't use the plasticity of the brain. So using something doing something that's creative actually grows your brain so that you can have this portfolio life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Linda, the third question which we're going to address is the question around what options do I have as I live and work longer?
So again, taking back from what you've said about your father-in-law, that for me is key, is because for a lot of people as they're growing older, to discover what they're passionate about and what they dreamed of, sometimes is so far suppressed that they really struggle about, so it's really good as you're going through life to really think through what is it that I'm passionate about. Because often in that, it's either in a hobby or something else that you're passionate is about where you will be in your next season, because it gives you clues about what will be fantastic for you. And we do live in a world where you actually have an opportunity to completely go into a re-career scenario if you need to work longer. I often say to a lot of people who are struggling with this phase due to the fact that they haven't saved enough money, is that if you keep your money and your investments until you're 70 and don't draw down, and work between 60 and 70 in a second career that you love, that's play, because when you love it, then it's not work. This is not work for me. I absolutely love what we do. And so we are living in a world where technology allows us to create something. So the slide that I have up there really is that you are the master and of your own masterpiece. And it will depend completely on what it is that you want to do. It may be a part-time job, it may be volunteering, it could be a portfolio life of 6 or 7 different things, it could be starting a completely new business. And the energy comes from when you understand and realize what you're passionate about. It really just instills that energy from inside of you. And that's key. It's absolutely key. And so really it's to start to plan this earlier than when you get to retirement, at least 5 to 10 years before. In fact, I had a conversation with someone this morning who 2 years ago was retrenched. And he said to me, I'm still plodding along, but this thing takes a long time. So I really want people to consider this long before they get to the stage. and from living longer and working, really create your masterpiece. You're a social pioneer.
Yes.
Do whatever it is that you would like to do, and if you're earning money along the way, that's an absolute
bonus.
bonus. Yeah.
So, Linda, people often ask me around the topics that you've just spoken, like, what are your passions? And as a human behaviorist, I say, actually listen to your body, because when that juice kind of percolates in your system and you get that yummy feeling in your tummy and time just seems to slip by, then that's a passion that you should really start to plant the seed earlier, as you say, so that you don't wait too long. So when I look at the same question from the Resilient Energy Center perspective, as you see on your screen, a whole lot of people looking really, really tired. So they're young, they've got possibly 2 or 3 careers still to come if they are going to live into their 90s. And we speak about playing to your strengths. So we say, if you are going to, what are your options? Is that you really need to know, and Linda Grattan speaks about it, finding your true identity will help you make the most out of your extra years in the world. So we focus a lot on how do you really know what your personality style resonates with and what juice, what you get from your life in terms of juice. So we're looking at diversity in this particular slide, and we're looking at saying again around collaboration. If you know your true identity and you can partner up with other people who have different skill sets, that is also fascinating. And I think we're living in an era which is now beyond the knowledge era. It is the collaboration era, and we're seeing it across industry sectors where up value stream and down value stream, people are looking to partner in different ways. So as individuals, if we're not part of a big corporate who are partnering upstream or downstream in the value chain, let's look at it as individuals. If you're going to look at becoming a barrister, is there a little roastery that you can buy into or you can volunteer to work at on a Saturday? So linking your pearl, nuggets and pearlers with mine is around actually knowing what you love and starting to do what you love, but certainly collaborating with other people who have different strengths. And then the last question, Linda, is living longer. People often ask me this, a blessing or a curse?
Yes, and absolutely. I mean, it's going to be wonderful if it's a blessing, if we're living longer, but if you're going to be really sick when you get to the season of life, or if your entire work life has been who you are. Yes. So what you do rather than who you are is how you enter your retiring years. It possibly could become a curse, because we don't really know. We're lonely at that point. The status of what you lose your status, you lose your monthly your paycheck, you lose often your social circle. If you've been in one place for 40 years, you lose that. Your reason for getting up and structure to your day. And so if you don't replace those things that the workplace has given you with something else, and you have 30 or 40 years ahead of you, that's like another whole career, another whole season of life. And so it really is up to you as the individual. And as you've said, we are in a world where the responsibility rests with us as individuals. The 20th century was about security in the workplace. The 21st century is about we have the power in our hands, in the cell phones that we own, in the decisions that we make. And so we have a lot more time on our hands. But the challenge is, what are you going to do with that time? Yes. Are you, and Linda Grattan again talks about, are you going to have more recreation time, or are you going to use some of that time for recreation? Yes. And recreation is where the energy again comes from, is where you really start to build another whole season of life. But it doesn't have to be like your previous season. It's not about working 8 to 5, 24/7, 365. It is literally about the portfolio life, as you said. A little bit of this and some travel and some leisure time in the things that we love, time with the grandchildren, but then also, what are the things that we're passionate about? What are we leaving? What's our legacy? And so it really is something. Time is something we've been given. But we need to invest that time in new skills, technology, whatever it is, like your father-in-law. Go and learn those skills. Lifelong learning is something we can do anywhere in the world now, because like this webinar, you can watch it and learn. And it's as simple as that in many, many areas of life.
Exactly. So from our perspective, we're walking that tightrope, and it's all about health. It's all about vitality. So it's a curse if you do not have your health, for sure. And I do some work in an old age home. In fact, my mother-in-law has Alzheimer's. And when I look around, there's some fairly young people. So some of them in their late 60s, it's, they're young. And it's a curse if you're going to live from 60 to 80 or 90, because you don't die of Alzheimer's if you are not healthy. So it really, really all comes down to health for us. And whatever we do today really has repercussions for tomorrow. So that's what we have a look at. If I just flip that 180 degrees and look at the benefit of living longer, is some illustrations of people who have really flipped their lives. And one of them is a good friend of mine who actually runs with me, who is a geophysicist. So, I mean, I can hardly say the word. It's, she's incredibly well qualified. And she'll be able to tell you all about fracking and what happens with that. And she just said to me, it's a blessing that I can now put that particular career aside, and I can go into teaching, which is what I love. Mm-hmm. So it's a blessing if you've gone out on the road. And because I coach people, Linda, I see people's lifelong journeys, and very often they become an accountant or a doctor or something, and it's what their father was or their mother was, or it's been thrust upon them, really. So the blessing, if you're living longer, is that you can just go flick-flack to something completely different, which is so lovely. I'm seeing some organizations saying, hey, why have we got really young people, in their 20s in our call centers? Why don't we have older retirees in our call centers who love to drink tea and love to be on the phone and love to converse?
Especially talking to the older people coming onto the call center, because, again, that's what they love. They don't want to push buttons. They want to speak to a human voice.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's going to be a blessing. I've said to my children that I want to live until I'm 92 and still be doing yoga and some other fun things, but we need to have our health to do that.
Absolutely.
So as Celine said about health and wealth earlier on. Right, so do we have any questions, Celine, that have popped up?
There actually was a question around what is a portfolio life. Could you both use that term?
Yes.
And let's just make sure that the viewers understand it.
So portfolio life is basically when you make a decision to do a number of things simultaneously. So you may be a non-executive director on a board. You may be doing some consulting or coaching work as part of that. And thirdly, you may be volunteering somewhere in your area of passion using your skills. So that basically is what the word portfolio life means, is taking a number of things that you're interested in and combining them in this season of life.
Yep.
In fact, lots of younger people also have portfolio lives now. But I think it's Ken Blanchard who started the term in his book on portfolio life, and Linda Grattan uses it as well.
Yes. So to your point of lots of younger people, I have a daughter who's second year BCom student, and I've said to her she definitely commerce is what she loves, but her portfolio life, she's passionate about animals. So I said, why don't you look online and see if you can do some dog training or some really fancy organic dog food. So while you are studying in a certain track, and I always imagine it as a simple, good old pie chart, one slice of that pie is you're studying if you're doing a BCom, but another slice of the pie says, hey, I love animals and I can do something vastly differently. So they really don't have to overlay at all. And what I'd love is South Africans to do more volunteering, which is what you mentioned, because that certainly introduces you to a lot of people. And back to our earlier comment around building better networks and making sure that those are substantial. And when you volunteer, they certainly are.
And for one of the things that I do in my coaching when I'm doing second career coaching is to really advise people to go and volunteer before they retire in their area of passion. So like you've said, if animals is your passion, go and work. But work in your area of skill. Go and have a conversation with them about what you're skilled at, because then match with what they need. Because they're seriously in need of resources. And at that point, you're building a new network for yourself. In fact, my sister-in-law is a prime example. She's passionate about animals, has been doing volunteering at Freeme and now the new Wildlife Rehabilitation Hospital, and has just finished an international 3-day course on working with rehab with wild animals.
Superb.
And whether it's feeding bats or whether it's birds that she's rescuing or turtles or whatever, she is absolutely in a new season of life. So it's that's brought for her second season through the networks.
Yep, exactly. Right, I'm going to hand you over to Celine. A quick swap here.
quick nudge Joni out the way. So I also want to live to 100 and definitely feel younger for longer. And for us to be able to do that, we all need nudging. I mean, it doesn't matter what age we're at. I know Joni's constantly nudging her teenagers. I nudge my parents. My parents nudged their parents. So there's two ways for us to help you with that. If you're watching this webinar, then you're okay with being online. So the first option would be potentially perfect for you. We have a series of videos, so 21 short, concise videos. They're 5 minutes or less each, punchy, and presented around various topics around managing specifically how you fuel and feed your body for longevity, how you manage the way that you move, the way that you breathe, and the other aspects that Joni touched on around resilience and knowing ourselves and playing to our strengths. So you can see on the screen some of the topics from the first week. And then here are some more modules around managing energy, looking at the way that you feed yourself, the way you move, the way that you manage your behavior. And this program is available usually online for $97. However, for the series of these webinars, we're making it available at a really reduced rate of $45. So I'm going to share with you in a moment the link, which you can jot down, and you can go there right now and sign up. It'll give you instant access to the modules. And yeah, we've kept it punchy and short so that it makes it easy for anybody to watch a quick video, get a quick call to action, and you can take some easy change into managing your energy, your performance, the way that you think and feel, so that you can live a much younger for longer life. You can also look out for the link in the email that we'll send through after this. So there's those two things. You can access the course online right now at that incredibly reduced rate. The second thing is what Joni, myself, and Linda are really passionate about, and that is about working with groups. So we do work within various organizations. I know that Linda has worked right from schools through to corporate clients where we work. So if you are still at work, or if you know individuals that are forward-thinking, that really feel that this is a good topic for us to be discussing, then be in touch with us, respond to our email. We can send you an overview or have a discussion around what would work for you or for potentially your colleagues or friends or the community that you're from. So on that note, I see that we are exactly on time. And thank you very much for joining us. Please look out for the thank you note. Perhaps before we say goodbye, anything from you, Linda?
No, absolutely. Thanks, everybody. And spread the word, but specifically for yourself, take ownership of your life.
Absolutely. Thank you.